Hi, good evening, and welcome to Understanding Your Students' PSAT Scores. My name is Dr. Jennifer Antone, and I am the Director of Counseling and Assessment for Ewing Public Schools. I am joined with me tonight by one of our EHS guidance counselors, Mrs. Stephanie Lippincott, and one of our Ewing High School counseling interns through the College of New Jersey, Mr. Scott Sample. Excuse me one second. Let me just share my screen. Okay. I'm sorry. Hang on one second. Forgive me, I am just getting my screen set here. Sorry about that, everyone. Okay. Share, there we go. Okay, my apologies for that. So tonight we're going to be speaking to you a little bit about your child's PSAT scores, but rest assured this conversation is going to be a little bit broader than just the PSAT scores. We're really going to be talking about how to build college readiness. So what are the benefits of taking the PSAT? Essentially, the PSAT is used to help students prepare for the SAT, to get free personalized, to be able to get free personalized SAT practice on Khan Academy, to start getting ready for college with college and career planning tools. It is also a way to screen for the National Merit Scholarship Program for grade 11 students. And additionally, it provides an idea of student readiness for AP courses. Lastly, colleges are able to begin to reach students who might be interested in admission and financial aid information. How do students access their scores? Well, we have handed out any students that took the PSAT in October of 2021 received their PSAT physical PSAT score reports at school the last week of December prior to holiday break. But additionally, parents and students can access their College Board their score reports through their College Board account, which is also where any SAT score reports would be as well. And the College Board account is really an opportunity for students to get information on any of their score reports associated with any test that they took. But in addition to that, there are other college planning resources that can be accessed through their College Board account. So to get to the score reports, you would log into your College Board account using the website, as you can see, studentscores.collegeboard.org. And you would sign into the account using your students' information. Okay, I'm going to hand it off to Mrs. Lippincott for the next portion of our presentation.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Now we're going to talk about understanding your students, or students if you are with us, your score report. So students, at this time, you can pull up your score report if you have it handy. If you don't, or if you're a parent and you don't have your student score report, no problem. You can follow along with the examples that are on the screen. So you can go ahead and find your total score, which is located in the top left section of your score report. In this example, you can see the total score is 960, and total scores for the PSAT are based on a scale of 320 to 1520. Your PSAT score is actually comparable to the score that you would have likely received if you had taken the SAT on the same day. And this is because the scores in the SAT suite are actually vertically equated. So in other words, your PSAT score is a direct indicator of your total SAT score if you had taken that test. So if you got a 1,000 on the PSAT, it's very likely that you would get about a 1,000 on the SAT. The only difference is that the SAT total scores range from 400 to 1,600. So they skew a little bit higher. Below your total score, you will find your section scores. Oh, actually, Dr. Anton, if you could just go back a couple more things on here. You can find your section score. So you'll see your evidence-based reading and writing score. That is on the left. In this example is a 430. And this is the scaled score that you earn from the reading test and the writing and language test combined. On the right is your math score. In this example is a 530. And this is the scaled score from your math test. Both of these sections scale from 160 to 760 on the PSAT. And on the SAT, they range from 200 to 800. And you get your total score by adding the two together. Below the reading and writing score and below the math score, you will see where your scores actually fell in the scoring range as compared to the benchmark score. So the colors on this graph represent the grade level benchmark. Students who meet the grade level benchmark are considered on track to meet the college readiness benchmark for the SAT. So, for example, the section scores, you'll see there's a section of red. If your students or your score falls in the red, that means that they need to strengthen their skills or they are more than 1 year below the grade level benchmark. If they fall in the yellow section of the graphic, this means that they're approaching the benchmark, so they are below the grade level benchmark by 1 year or less. And if they're in the green area, this means they are on track for college readiness and have met or exceeded the benchmark. And then finally, test scores are shown at the bottom of the page. They range from 8 to 38, and test scores will indicate if you perform better on the reading test versus the writing, and together they produce that section score. Okay, Dr. Anton, thank you. All right, so below each of the three test scores, you'll see your nationally representative sample percentile. And this is the percentile ranking for a student if all US students in the same grade took the test. So from the example on the slide, the student can read that at the score of 960, he or she performed better than 51% of students nationally that took the test. Percentiles and benchmarks are provided for 11th and 12th grade on the PSAT. So if a student is younger or older, so if a freshman or a senior had taken the test, they would be compared to the nearest grade level. The National Merit Scholarship Program. So Dr. Anton mentioned this, but essentially it is an academic competition for recognition and scholarships, and it began all the way back in 1955. So approximately 1.5 million students will take the PSAT and MSQT, and of those, about 50,000 with the highest scores will qualify for recognition in the National Merit Scholarship Program. In September, these high scorers are notified through their schools that they qualified as either a commended student or a semifinalist. And then the selection index scores are calculated by doubling the sum of the reading, the writing and language, and the math test scores. The National Merit Scholarship is only considered from the 11th grade students who test on the October administration date. So if you are not an 11th grader, you're not eligible yet, or if you test on a different date, then those scores won't be considered. If there's an asterisk after the number, that means that those scores are not eligible. So if you're in 10th grade, you'll see that there's an asterisk there. Okay, so you have your scores. Now what? A few things that you could do as a student or parents your student can do. They can continue to take challenging courses in high school. You can view the prerequisites for all of our advanced level courses in the course catalog, and your student can have a conversation with their school counselor either now or during course selection time to express their interest, and the counselor can help them learn more about the course, what's involved, and make sure that they are prepared for that course. They can link their scores with Khan Academy. Talk a little bit more about that in the next slide. You could set up a practice plan prior to taking the SAT. Start now, do a little bit each day or each week, and then by the time you sign up to take it, you'll be prepared. You can register for the SAT. We recommend that juniors take the SAT in the spring of their junior year. We actually host it in May at Ewing High. And then you can utilize other resources to research and prepare for college. All right, so Khan Academy, I mentioned that. It is a free SAT prep resource for students that they automatically get by taking the PSAT. Again, it's totally free at no cost, and it gives students access to thousands of official SAT test questions that are written and reviewed by the College Board and had possibly been used on previous tests, and 6 full-length SAT tests. So students can actually sit and take a full practice test at home. Students can access the official SAT practice on a computer. They can use the daily SAT practice app or the Khan Academy app on their phone. So they can have it with them every day, every afternoon. They could do a question or practice on Khan a little bit, and they don't even have to log on to their computer. Khan Academy also creates personalized learning for each student based on their test performance and practice on Khan Academy. So they'll take those PSAT scores into account and actually personalize your practice on there. And it also provides videos that will tutor students in areas which they are identified as needing help. Okay. So this slide, it will link to a video we'll show you in a minute that demonstrates the official features of the SAT practice on Khan Academy. Students in a computer lab on their computer can set up their accounts tonight. If you had taken the PSAT, you have to enter your name, email address, birthday, and you'll get a link to set up a username and password. They can also log in with their Facebook information if they have a Facebook account or a Gmail account. All right, so we're going to show you this short video, give you a little bit more information about Khan Academy, and your students can hop on after the presentation.
Welcome to official SAT practice. Khan Academy and the College Board have teamed up to create the only SAT. It's personalized for each student, available anytime, anywhere, and completely free. We'll create personalized practice recommendations for you based on your test results from the PSAT 8-9, PSAT 10, PSAT NMSQT, and SAT. If you haven't already taken a College Board test, you can take our short diagnostic quizzes to get started. Your practice plan will show you where you already excel and where you should focus your practice. We'll also create a practice schedule for you based on your test date. We have tons of interactive practice questions developed with the College Board. That give you instant feedback on your answers, as well as hints and videos to help you master your skills. Mini sections help.
Okay, so I'm not sure if everyone could see the video. Okay, let me try that one more time. Okay.
Welcome to official SAT practice. Khan Academy and the College Board have teamed up to create the only SAT practice tool developed with the experts who write the SAT. It's personalized for each student, available anytime, anywhere, and completely free. We'll create personalized practice recommendations for you based on your test results from the PSAT 8-9, PSAT 10, PSAT NMSQT, and SAT. If you haven't already taken a College Board test, you can take our short diagnostic quizzes to get started. Your practice plan will show you where you already excel and where you should focus your practice. We'll also create a practice schedule for you based on your test date. We have tons of interactive practice questions developed with the College Board that give you instant feedback on your answers, as well as hints and videos to help you master your skills. College Board mini sections help you practice under time pressure, as well as hints. We have official practice to help you your skills. College Board mini sections help you practice under time.
Okay, forgive the technical difficulties. We'll just go back to the slideshow. I'm not sure why that video is not playing. I can hear it, but apparently you cannot hear it. It's a 2-minute video, which we are happy to share out the link for. But we'll just go back to, I believe, just go back to the slideshow.
Welcome to official SAT practice. Khan Academy and the College Board have teamed up to create the only SAT practice tool developed with the experts who write the SAT. It's personalized for each student, available anytime, anywhere, and completely free. We'll create personalized practice recommendations for you based on your test results from the PSAT 8-9, PSAT 10, PSAT NMSQT, and SAT. If you haven't already taken a College Board test, you can take our short diagnostic quizzes to get started. Your practice plan will show you where you already excel and where you should focus your practice. We'll also create a practice schedule for you based on your test date. We have tons of interactive practice questions developed with the College Board that give you instant feedback on your answers, as well as hints and videos to help you master your skills. Mini sections help you practice under time pressure. We have official practice tests written by the College Board. Taking at least 2 practice tests will help you build the experience and endurance necessary to do well on test day. Join more than 1 million students already using official SAT practice.
Khan Academy was probably the best way that I can use to study. My math was below par. Using Khan Academy, I built it up. It improved my scores dramatically.
I like the leveling up. It kind of makes it a game.
I feel excited and prepared because it's something that I've already seen, I've already prepped for it, so when I take it, I'm going to do it right.
Sign up and get started today.
Okay. I'm going to return us real quick to the slideshow. Okay, so parents, we want to assure you that the PSAT in this conversation about college readiness is not limited to students that are only national merit scholars. This conversation is for each and every one of you. How can my child build college readiness through course selection? Mrs. Lippincott mentioned really that challenge of taking on honors coursework and AP coursework. I want to encourage you that this is not an all or nothing sort of an approach. This is something that students can really experiment with, taking one course and seeing how it goes and building from there. So one thing we do mention is that challenging coursework can improve readiness and build a foundation for college. Colleges do look at the grade earned in classes, but parents, they also look at the rigor and level of difficulty of courses. They do want to see students that challenge themselves and try different sorts of things. If your child pursues AP coursework and honors coursework, they may be able to get college credit early. So we want you to think about this in terms of thinking a little bit more broadly and knowing that help is available. We want to encourage our children to talk with their teachers if they fall behind or they need more support. We also want to challenge children, students, and this can be sometimes a little bit hard, to think beyond if they experience a class initially or automatically as difficult or uninteresting. We want to challenge students to really think about, what can this this course do in terms of building readiness? It could be kind of in general or in a particular program of study. What do I mean by that? If a student is saying that they want to think about becoming an engineer, or they want to think about going into the health sciences professions, we want to think about courses that match that aspiration and really take on that challenge. So not only can we build college readiness through specific courses, taking more advanced courses, parents, we can also build college readiness through habits. And habits are not something that it's all or nothing. We're born with it or we're not. No, habits are developed and coached and built little by little. So a little bit about resilience. We want our children to try to work through difficult moments in class. And we always want to balance that with what's what is most appropriate for that student. What are the kinds of things that that stress our children out? But we do encourage students to try to work through some of those difficult moments in class. We also want students to gain practice in accessing sources of support when needed. You may ask, Dr. Antone, what are you talking about? I help my child with their homework. Their older brother helps my daughter or my son with their homework. Well, that's fantastic. But there are also sources of support right here at Ewing High School. One of the first things that we offer are the peer tutoring opportunity. That is a source of support. Students can make appointments with teachers. There oftentimes students have access to online textbooks that have additional sources of support embedded in the course. So these are some of the things that we encourage students to really practice with. Additionally, we want to look at the flexibility. So we want our children to learn to refine their studying methods and being able to match their studying methods to the instruction of the course. This is something we might have two experts come on a little bit later to speak a little bit more with you about. That will be way more interesting than me. And so stay tuned on that. We also encourage students to stay ahead of tests, projects, assignments, and once again, always ask for help. That is what we are here for. I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Scott Sample.
Thank you, Dr. Antone. Today I'll be talking to all of you about how you can help your child develop a growth mindset towards the PSATs that aren't just applicable to this, but can transcend throughout life as well. So to go into what a growth mindset is, this is a method of thought where success from constant personal development. You always see areas of improvement when it comes with a growth mindset. And this is really different from a fixed mindset, which is the notion that talent and intelligence is something that either someone has or they don't. And even though while some individuals have inherent qualities and traits, success itself comes from a personal commitment to improve. And success also as one person defines it. Like if someone is looking to take engineering courses, that can be what they see as success. Or if someone is looking to take more like historical based courses or go into that sort of occupation, that can be success for them as well. So just going into the difference between those two things, but mainly when it comes to the PSAT preparation, even like outside of these College Board exams, developing a growth mindset can really help them overcome these obstacles and kind of to figure out what can I do to do better, essentially. And there are plenty of ways to incorporate a growth mindset in your child's academic aspirations and anything of that nature. And some of the following ways that you can help your child to do this is to have them embrace challenges. When an obstacle stands in their way, many of us kind of complain or kind of look at it from a negative perspective. By embracing the challenge as a teachable moment that a child can learn from, one will be able to know where they perform at their best and also look at areas of improvement. So if they know, okay, I know that I'm really good at the math portion, but I'm not great at writing, maybe I can enhance my writing skills to make sure I can conquer that writing portion of the PSATs and SATs in the future. Another tip could be to reflect on the past. Take a trip down memory lane and have your child reflect on how they did in other tests. So like whether it's the PARCC, the NJSLA, or any other test they've taken in school. If they know their strengths and their weaknesses in test taking as a whole, they can really find their skills to focus on, okay, here's what I need to do better at when it comes to this type of test. By reflecting on the past experiences, they'll be able to determine their own areas of strengths and really develop those strategies to improve upon their test-taking skills. It also allows them to focus on other areas that they feel they need improvement to. Also important to notice how they speak. So understanding the way your child might speak about themselves regarding their test-taking abilities or the PSATs/SATs is crucial to seeing how they view their ability to perform. And one way to combat negative thinking is to simply add the word yet to the end of their sentence. So one example might be, oh, I'm not good at math equations. Well, change that to, I'm not good at math equations yet, because that shows that there's area for growth and room for improvement on that too. Or, oh, I don't think I can write a persuasive essay. Change that to, I don't think I can do that yet. That way they can hone their skills and really try to improve upon that while they're prepping for the PSAT or SAT exam in the future. Another good tip is to alter your attitude. When someone with a fixed mindset often has a negative attitude about life, whether it's school, their peers, or things of that nature, it can really kind of like roadblock them from wanting to do better. So attempting to find the good in any situation will allow students to explore the endless possibilities in store for them. So it's crucial for students to make the attempt to alter their attitudes now. That way they can focus on that with the PSATs, SATs, other future tests they might take, and even personal relationships too with friends, family, so on and so forth. And lastly, just enjoy the journey. While you focus on the outcome, which might be the test scores for the PSATs, sometimes you forget about the journey it takes to get there too. You're only in high school once, or your child is only in high school once. So it's important that they kind of embrace this time, make the most of their time in high school, and really kind of develop the skills they can use for outside of high school as well. So now we're just going to go into the dangers of a fixed mindset, as I briefly mentioned earlier, then go into the benefits of a growth mindset. And a fixed mindset is kind of like, I can't do this, like this is enough for me, like there's no more room for improvement. So the dangers of a fixed mindset include increased feelings of insecurity. If a student feels that they can't improve, they'll lose confidence in themselves. They'll just say, oh, like, this is it, I can't do anymore, when there is room for them to do so much better. Another danger of a fixed mindset is the hyper-focus on perfection. When students develop a fear of failure, they'll miss out on the lessons that failure teaches them. So if they are so scared that, oh, I'm going to fail at this, they don't know how they'll be able to get back up and go forward, which is what a growth mindset will be able to teach you. You might say, okay, I might not have done well here, but I know that I have time to improve upon that in the future. And lastly, the danger of a fixed mindset includes lack of growth. So when students feel that their learning skills cannot be developed, they kind of feel they feel unfulfilled because there's nowhere else for them to go. It's kind of like a roadblock, essentially. They're like, okay, I've reached my point and that's kind of it. Like, I'm stuck. Whereas if you transcend that and kind of think of how you can improve upon that, you know that you can go a lot further than you think. So now going into the benefits of a growth mindset, one of them being better academic performance. Failures are reasons to try again, and this time with more knowledge than before. And that's kind of the whole purpose of the PSATs, to indicate where you would fall in the SATs. So if you kind of know, okay, here's where I can stand, here's how can I do better, reflect on how you did in the PSATs and think, okay, here's my first step that I can conquer, and then so on and so forth. Also, you can develop an enhanced appreciation towards learning with a growth mindset. This allows students to be open about learning brand new information and increase their retention of knowledge. That way they can do better in the classroom, or they can do better on future tests they might take in the future. And lastly, it fosters growth outside of the classroom as well. So students will be able to develop skills that can't just be found in academics or just by taking the PSAT or SAT test. They'll develop these skills that can help them in the future as well. And it can be applied to any sort of situation they might be able to experience, whether it's something with friends or something conflict at work with their jobs outside of school too. These really help them develop personal skills that can help them out outside of the academics. So now we're going to hear from two student leaders at Ewing High School, Noemi Garcia and Thomas Valenga. Let's make sure they're on here before I give them a nice introduction. Perfect. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for coming on tonight.
Thank
Good
you
evening.
for having us.
All right, so I'll just give a brief bio on Naomi and Thomas. Noemi Garcia is a four-year member and co-president of the EHS Student Council. In addition to being the manager of the swim team, Noemi is a dedicated member of the drama club and as well as the president of this year's International Thespian Honor Society. Noemi is also a peer leader and a member of the National Honor Society. Outside of school, Noemi volunteers with the Special Olympics and helps out at the Mercer Street's Friends Food Bank. Next year, she is planning to attend Messiah College in Pennsylvania. And then we have Thomas Valanga, who is a third-year member, two-year officer, and current co-president of the Ewing High School Student Council. He is also a peer leader, a member of the National Honor Society, a drum major for the marching band, and a captain for the varsity soccer, winter track, and spring track teams. Outside of school, Thomas is a soon-to-be Eagle Scout, and next year hopes to attend West Point and ultimately become a member of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. So thank you both for being on here tonight. We just have a few questions for you all about your experiences with taking College Board's exams. So I'll ask the first question. Just overall, discuss your experiences with taking the PSATs, SATs, everything of that nature.
Whoever would like to begin, don't be shy. We appreciate you being here.
Right, I can go ahead first. So I know that the first thing I took was obviously the PSAT, and it was 10th grade, and I was like, all right, you go up to this room today, and you're gonna take a test. I'm like, I don't really know what's going on. And I took a test, and I did it, and it went fine. But then learning more about what it did, the PSAT is good because it's sort of I don't know how much has been talked about beforehand, but it's certainly a sort of benchmark to see where you struggle in certain areas or how you can improve, where you want to improve. And of course, it leads into your SAT most directly, and your ACT a little bit, depending on if you want to jump to another organization for your college entry exams. But getting the PSA done is really good because it sort of gives you that jumping off point, especially when you want to study for the SATs like I did. My brother had taken the PSAT, SATs already, and what he used was the Khan Academy studying, which was a free tool that you can use that actually uses your PSAT scores to form its own assessment of where you stand and across both math and reading, and even like interdisciplinary. So by using that, I studied for SATs and PSATs, and I think I did pretty well using that, certainly. So I'll let Normie go after me.
Yeah, so I took the PSAT actually my freshman year. I signed up to take it, so it's an option that we have here. So I signed up to take it my freshman year, and I took it my sophomore year, and then I didn't take it my junior year because of COVID and just everything, I didn't end up taking it. But the PSATs, I feel like really did prepare me for my SATs. The SATs are a test I think a lot of people don't have a lot of knowledge about, like how it's formatted specifically and things. So until you take the PSAT, I think you don't really know and you're not really super prepared. I also like preparing for my SAT, which I took, I think, the end of my sophomore year, or the beginning of my junior. I'm not sure. I don't correctly really remember. But preparing for that, I actually bought the like SAT study book, which has like 5 different practice tests in it. So I took that and I was just like doing practice problems and trying to figure out what I struggled with based off of my PSAT scores. And I think that also prepared me for like things like my AP tests that I took my junior year, because those are a very similar format in terms of like the multiple choice sections. It's very similar questions and the way they're worded, and yeah. So I think that all helped.
Okay, so I guess establishing with what you've done with the College Board exams, how do you feel you established college readiness?
I would say college readiness definitely comes down to forming your own habits, certain things that you want to carry with you into college. You want to make sure that you're able to keep yourself on track academically, to keep yourself moving through your life. Things that aren't necessarily school-based, things like, can you keep yourself waking up on time? Can you make sure you eat 3 meals? Can you make sure you exercise if that's something you want to do? Can you hold your schedule? And then academically, can you get your homework done? Can you do this? Can you do that? Being able to be independent and away from home, especially if you're trying to go to a college that's far away from your house, far away from your parents. You want to make sure that you're building skills and building habits that you can help to propel you more easily through acclimating into your college experience.
Yeah, I think specifically, like speaking to AP exams, like that, those are a lot of you having to communicate with your teacher directly, which I think is something that in college, that's like obviously you have to be able to communicate with your professors directly about what you need and just like being able to go to them if you need extra support. So I think preparing for my AP exams, that kind of helped me to recognize that like I have to step up and be an advocate for myself in preparing for these exams, in the same way that like as I take these college courses, I have to step up and be an advocate for myself about the support that I need as a student. So that definitely changed my perspective on it. And also like everything that Thomas was saying with just like making your own habits, planning, how you can learn, how you can live in that environment. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, then do you have any advice for anyone in the audience in terms of how they can help prepare their child for the PSATs or anything of that nature?
I would definitely say to start using the Khan Academy things early, and certainly to push your student to work hard, but not necessarily to overstep and to make it something that they don't want to do. I want to make sure you're encouraging them in a way that they want to do it just as much as you do. It's also important to remember that the PSAT is important, but it's not the be all end all. You can think of it as this major test with the goal of a merit scholarship, which is incredibly tight in New Jersey. I didn't get one, and I performed pretty well on my second PSAT. And then you can also think of it as a practice test, because no matter how good your PSAT is, if you score like a 0 on the SAT, you're probably not going to get into very many colleges that require an SAT score. So I would say push them to study and work hard for it, to build habits and sort of learn and get used to College Board and SAT type exams, but also recognize that it's not the most high stress thing in the world, and to let them learn at their own pace as well.
I 100% agree with everything Thomas said. I think the PSAT is a test that is great to jump into what College Board exams look like, because over the course of high school, you're going to take a lot, especially if you're taking AP exams, and a lot of teachers are going to push you to be on College Board, learn how to access College Board, things like that. But I think it's definitely not the end all be all. And I think like it's a great test to take, but definitely, recognize that this is going to be like your first big kind of exam in this setting, and like your first big standardized College Board test. So finding some grace for yourself and working as hard as you can to do the best that you can, but also recognizing that it's not an end all be all in terms of testing.
All right, thank you all so much for sharing. If anyone else has any questions, I'm more than happy for you all to go ahead and ask.
Well, students, we really appreciate you being our experts, our guest speakers here today. I think what you have to say is very, very valuable. And I know our sophomores and juniors do appreciate you imparting your pearls of wisdom. So thank you so much. Much, much appreciated. All right, parents, I am going to just very briefly go back to our slideshow. We don't have too much more left. Okay, sorry. Okay. And now it is time for you, if you have any questions, you can actually type your questions in, and we are able to respond to your questions, and see if we can add anything else to kind of flesh this out a little bit for you. I think the main things that we want to kind of leave you with is that college readiness is something that all of our students can build, and it can be built piece by piece, little by little. It is a very coachable thing. And the main thing, to speak to what Mr. Sample presented before, is that it is about knowing that we are able to grow at this, and it's not something that we're either born with or not. This is something that we can grow with. So if there are any questions in the chat, please feel free to do that. And last but not least, we'd also like for you to take our post webinar survey, where we are asking you for some feedback on the topic and the format and anything else that you can share that would be useful for us as we develop programs, hopefully programs that are engaging and relevant to you. We really appreciate you being here tonight. We will absolutely share this out with some edits and get this out to our high school community. We really appreciate you being here tonight. Oh, we have a question from Mr. Logan. How often should a student see their guidance counselor throughout the year? That's an excellent question, Mr. Logan. Thank you so much for that. You know, the senior year of high school is probably one of the neediest years that in terms of how much a student may be coming down to speak with their counselor. There are a lot of deadlines, and it is a brand new applying to college, applying for financial aid, applying to scholarships. That is a brand new experience, sometimes for the families, as well as, of course, it's going to be brand new to the student. It's a brand new lived experience. So there's no sort of magic number, but the main thing is that as the parent and the student, both, your child knows that we have an open door. We have a couple of different channels to get to us. You can certainly always email. You can visit our grade level Canvas classrooms for additional information. So our sophomores have their Canvas classroom. Our juniors have their Canvas classroom that are from the counselors. And that we share out relevant grade level information. So that's another way to get some of that information. So there's no sort of magic number, but I would say that if anything at all is bothering your student, I'm not sure if I'm on track with my college applications. What classes should I pick out for next year? I have a question about this class. How am I doing in my grades? I've been feeling really stressed about this test. Those are the sorts of things that you can come down and speak with your guidance counselors, your school counselors about. We are happy to tailor our session to exactly what it is that your child needs at the time. That was a great question. So another question, Miss Washington, is there anything else we should know about the upcoming AP exams? Well, that's a great question. If your child is currently enrolled in a semester 1 AP class that is due to end at the end of semester 1, stay tuned, because we are going to be sharing out study sessions similar to last year. We had study sessions with the students' AP teachers that we will provide on a weekly basis leading up till the week that AP exams start in May 6th. As our student leaders pointed out, there are prep materials for all of the College Board exams, including the AP exam. So chances are on your child's AP course Canvas classroom, resources have been shared by the teachers to help with that study plan, because it is a college level exam in the sense that it's assimilating a lot of material into one exam, but the resources are there individually through the teachers Canvas class. They will have resources for you, as well as we do have study sessions planned for our semester 1 AP courses, and then of course our AP courses for semester 2, which are far fewer, are set to begin shortly. Any other questions? Oh, we have another parent question. Is there in-person or virtual tutors provided by the school or Khan Academy for SAT prep? That's an excellent question. So Khan Academy, as Mrs. Lippincott kind of mentioned before, is a customizable online study program. So students typically take like a diagnostic test, and then it provides they may ask you like how long before your next PSAT or how long before your next SAT, and then it customizes a study plan for students. We didn't talk about this, but there is a similar program available, free SAT prep through Naviance. Once again, it would be online. You're not working with a live teacher. You're working with this online preparation program. Many of our students have found great success with both Khan Academy and the Naviance program, but certainly that's a great option for students. In terms of the study sessions that we talked about for AP, that would be with your teacher, the child's AP teacher, if your child is currently enrolled in an AP class. And at this time, Ewing High School doesn't specifically offer SAT prep, after school SAT prep for students, but we do have opportunities for peer tutoring, as well as if a student feels they need a little bit of assistance with how to prep for the SAT specifically beyond Khan Academy, they can come down to guidance, and we can work on coming up with a program for them. Any other questions from parents? Okay, well, I want to thank you all for attending tonight. We are going to prepare this recording for you and share it out, and you can watch it at any time. If you think of any questions, please make sure that you email us at Ewing High School Counseling, your child's guidance counselor. We'll be happy to answer any questions, and please do take the survey that we shared with you, so we can get better and bring you programming that's going to be most relevant to you. So thank you so much for coming, everyone. Have a great night.